probably a day not unlike this that I remember my first job. I'm sure it was much earlier in the year, but it just seemed so hard. I was about 5 years of age, and I can remember picking the rocks out of the field and putting them up on the back of the wagon. And the rocks were sliding off, and I was a little guy, and they hit me in the head. And I was asking my uncles, what are we doing? Why do we do this? And they said, Jimmy, we're doing this because if you don't pick the rock, you can't plow. You don't plow, you can't plant. You don't plant, you can't harvest. Now, be quiet and get back to picking rock. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that's what a political campaign and you, not me, you governing yourselves is all about. We're picking rock and we're plowing and we're planting, and we've done that all across the state. And now, all farmers know what you do between planting and harvesting. You pray. You pray for rain at the right time, at the right amount. You pray that when the crop comes up, that you can get it off before you get too much rain, and some of it might sprout a little early and ruin the crop. Or sometimes there's a little whirlwind comes along in the fall and knocks it all down. So you pray every step of the way. Well, that's where we are right now in Maryland, for those of us that love liberty and actually believe we have the solutions, not government. We've picked the rock, we've plowed, we're planting, we're praying, and I need you to work in that field with me. We need to work together across this state. So many races, up and down the line, so many things on the line, right here, right now in Maryland. We need it. I would take a break after working on the farm, sit under a shade tree, get a little glass of lemonade from my great Aunt Mamie, and she'd say, look over here, Jimmy. You see that little stone? That's the stone of Lieutenant Joshua Rutledge, who was that man that was in the prison ship, who was that man that fought with General Washington, who was that man that said, I'm going back in spite of the odds. That's the way I was raised. That's the way many of us were. Freedom is not genetic, though. Lord, I wish it was. Wouldn't that be nice? Just have some babies and everything be fine. But it's not. Freedom is not free, and it needs to be taught every single step of the way. President Reagan said that early on, long before he stepped to the podium to be the President of the United States, but he was right. He was so right. And those things aren't different, and those things haven't changed, and human nature hasn't changed, and we want to live free. And that's why I'm running, because I want to be a free man. I want to be a man, and my wife wants to be a woman, that we can raise our family and know that our children, 23 and 17 years of age, can have those opportunities. And I know that's why you're here today. You're here not necessarily because of your life, because you might say, hey, another 20 years, the good Lord might check me out between now and then. It can happen at any time. I'm 48 years old. I've already buried the oldest cousin in our family. My parents are both deceased. Life is like a vapor, the Bible says. But what are we going to do with it right now? What are we going to do with the freedom and the power that we have in our hands? It is not acceptable just to give it up to Barbara Mikulski, to leave the field and say we're not going to fight because it's too tough. It is not enough to say we're going to give it up, that we're going to just let the Democrats rule the state of Maryland, let them continue to ruin lives in Baltimore City in the public schools where there are schools that aren't safe for teachers to even stay after school to help tutor the children. Things are way out of kilter, folks, and that's why we're getting off the dole. That's why we're getting out and getting active. And that's why I'm giving up my 7-minute commute and have done it to go across this state. It is not about Jim Rutledge. This is about you, the people of Maryland, and what are we going to do in the last moments as people that want to rule our lives try to strip it away and pick the winners and pick the losers. So, ladies and gentlemen, as they play that game in Washington and they pick the winners, we are the losers. And we are not losers. We are successful people that know you do not punish success. You will reward success and hard work. That's why Olympians play for the gold. So are we going to play for the gold? Are we going to go for it now? I'm begging you to get behind this race for your sakes. Not for my sake. Not for my sake. For your sakes and the sake of your children. Because America is still the United States of America and is not a subdivision of the United Nations. And America is still and will be an exceptional place with an opportunity system that cuts across racial lines and cuts across nationalities like none other in the history of the world. So, ladies and gentlemen, will you join me in this? Will you join me? Thank you for enduring the heat. Thank you for coming out here today. So in conclusion, God bless you mightily, and God bless America.
Go get him, Jim!